Welcome back to the Chit Chat and Crochet podcast with me, Stephanie Mitchard. Today, what we are going to be talking about is we are going to be talking all about horror films and spooky watches. I think as crocheters, TV is a massive part of our lives. You know, we're sitting there, we're crocheting, and we're watching the telly or listening to our audiobooks. And I thought what a fun way to celebrate spooky season would be going through some of my favourite Halloween films. I love everything from the mildest of horror like Hocus Pocus right up to, you know, really frightening films like Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. I love all different types of horror. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend 13 horror films and 3 TV shows that will get you into the spooky spirit. Now, if you've never ever been here before, my name is Stephanie Mitchard. I crochet, I craft, I do lots and lots of different types of things. And this is our little corner of the internet where we talk about all things crafty and all things crochet. I say our little corner of the internet because we have an absolutely amazing community here. I've been doing this for almost a year now. First week in November was the time that I started to upload to YouTube again. And it's been 1 year and the channel has really took off, and I can't thank you all enough for coming and being part of the community. We have our Facebook group now so we can catch up with each other between the videos. The Mitchard Mateys Craft Club. Thank you, Wendy, for that name. And we also have our Discord as well, because Facebook is actually removing the chat function, which is really, really sad. When we do our watch party, which is going to be coming up, we actually got a place now where we can actually go over there, we can stream films, we can talk, and it's just going to be a lot better for us all. I understand that quite a few of us are a little bit anxious about Discord because it isn't something that we've used before, and even myself, I am kind of just getting used to it. So this will be a bit trial and error when we do our Bride of Frankenstein watch party. Now, I never ever want any of my content to ever go behind a paywall. I believe that if you want to come and join our community, regardless of your budget, you should have access to all of this content. But if you do want to help in any way, keep me fueled in caffeine, help me buy wool for the projects, I have a YouTube membership, which is $2.99 a month. And for that, what you get is you get priority responses to comments. You get a little badge next to your name saying that you're part of the group. And then you also get a shout out in every single video. So I just want to say a massive shout out to Wendy, to David, to Emma, to Claire, to Emma, to Tedi, and to Liz. Thank you so much for supporting me every single month. We also have the Coffee app for one-off payments as well. And all the details for that are down in the notes below. If you do want to support though in any way, or in a free kind of way, a way of doing that is just by sharing the content. That means so much to me. Just before I start the video, I want to talk all about Dossier perfume. So let's open this musky oak moss. This is classed as a significant perfume. So it's not quite a light perfume, it's not full statement, it's somewhere in the middle. And it was inspired by Creed Aventus. Look at that bottle, isn't that beautiful? I really love their bottles because I just love the simplicity. You have the name, you can see the perfume, and it's got a bit of weight to it as well. Like, it feels like a luxury product. So you'd think like musky oak moss would have like a sort of like a heaviness to it, but it's actually a really, really beautiful light perfume. It's actually a mixture of bergamot, rose, oak moss, and patchouli. That is what sold it to me because I love bergamot, that kind of citrusy almost smell to bergamot, and patchouli, like that heaviness. I thought this perfume, this is just going to be for me. Now, I've spoke about layering perfumes before, and I don't know if you've ever tried layering my perfume, but I love layering my perfumes, mainly because perfumes, they smell differently on everyone. Once you spray it on you, it mixes with your pheromones. So last time I spoke all about Fougere Lavender. And these two perfumes, they recommend that they go together. They come together and they create this very like sharp metallic coolness. And then they have that kind of muskiness underneath. They are such an amazing pair together. And what's amazing is both of these perfumes are £29. How amazing is that? £29. What's also really amazing is Dossier is cruelty free and it is vegan. And if you want to get your Dossier perfume, you can actually get 10% off with this discount code right here. So if you want to try Dossier perfume, now is your chance. So what am I working on right now? I am actually working on my Frankenstein jumper for Reds. I am trying to get this done by the end of the week. It's very, very scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. I'm nearly done with the sleeve. I've got 27 rows to go on the sleeve, so I'll definitely have this done. It's looking absolutely amazing. I'm not going to show you the full thing, but I'm just up to the sleeve. So I'm on Sleeve Island right now, so it won't take me too much longer, but you know when you're stuck on the sleeves and you're just like, I need to get this done. But yeah. So working on our lovely kind of spooky, I've got it's Universal Frankenstein that I'm working on, and I think it's very fitting for this subject that we're going to be talking about tonight. So I said I wanted to have a little bit of a catch up with everybody, and I just want to talk about how I've been feeling the last sort of month. I've been really stressed. I'm not going to lie. I've been really stressed and I've been feeling really, really, really overwhelmed. I feel like I've took quite a lot on, and it makes me sad because I love making content and I love making these videos. It makes me so happy, and I love speaking to everybody in the Facebook group. But then I've had a few kind of like life things that have happened, like mainly getting sick. Just before I went away, I got really, really ill, and it really, really put me behind. And I think what happened as well was August, I was already quite behind because I took on some really, really, really big projects. Instead of doing like one big project in a month, I took on like 4 really massive projects, and I don't know why I did that. I mean, I was doing it to push myself. But then what happened was I didn't think about the fact that I was going away in the September, which meant that I would have to pre-film to make sure I had content out. And then what happened as well on top of that is I got sick. I got really, really ill before I went away. My lip, they didn't know whether I had an allergic reaction, whether it was a cold sore. I mean, I'm 37 and I've never had a cold sore before. And the pharmacist was looking at it like, I've never seen a cold sore like that. But my lip swelled up to 3 times the size. I had the cold sore cream, which they gave me as like a precaution, and it was just sliding off my lip. And in the end, I ended up on antivirals, antibiotics, and I also had a extra strong antihistamine as well, because they were just covering all of the bases. And halfway through the cruise, I still had like a big scabby lip, but the swelling had gone down. I was able to eat, which was amazing. But then we had our holiday, which was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. But it's not the kind of holiday where you just sit and like relax. And then when we got back, like a week later, Jackson got really sick. His temperature went so high that I was asking him what my name was, and he couldn't tell me who I was, which I found, quite frightening. And then after looking after him and being awake all night looking after him, I then got sick and ended up with strep throat. And then last week, I just couldn't face. I was thinking, I feel like I can't even stand up. I can't film. And I've just ended up so behind with everything. And I've been really, really upset because I feel like very disconnected from everybody. And it's my own doing, with obviously other things as well. And obviously I work full time as well. So I'm doing all of this plus working full time and being a mum. So it is a lot. And I'm really, really, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because this is the thing that keeps me going. This is the thing that like, I love doing this channel, and I love speaking with everyone. And I just want to say thank you to you all. I really want to say thank you to you, because you've all been so understanding. Last week when I said I couldn't post, not one person was horrible about it. I had like lovely messages off people like Jam and Wendy. You both messaged me to basically like tell me like to not worry and that everything would be fine. And I just want to say thank you like so much for like sending me like those thoughts, because like that's my big fear. And I know that it wouldn't just stop. It's like, just because I don't post one week, I'm like, oh my god, everyone's gonna forget about me and everyone's gonna forget about the channel. And I know that isn't the case. It completely isn't the case. But like that's like, like you have that little voice in your head being like, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? people are just going to like, you know, you need to keep going, you need to keep pushing. And I'm always somebody who's like kind of like that. But yeah, I needed to have a little step back, and I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody. I think what I might end up doing in December is I might take a break from the podcast, but I might continue with the weekly, just so I can catch up, because what I don't want is I don't want my content to start feeling kind of rushed, which I'll be honest with you, I've been feeling quite recently like I'm just rushing through the videos and going through the motions, and that's not what I want, because I do all of this on my own. I don't have anyone helping me like editing or like any of that kind of stuff. It's like 100% everything that I am doing. So yeah, I'll think properly what I want to do. Maybe I'll end up doing maybe like 2 podcasts in December and 2 podcasts in November, and then back to the normal schedule in January. But I'll let you guys know what I end up deciding. I need to kind of sit down and write out and plan exactly what I've got to do, because I've got plans for every single week right up until January, and then part of me is like, I don't want to like drop anything because I just want to make these videos. But yeah, I'll let you guys know what I end up deciding. So tonight, what I thought we would do is I thought we would sit and we would have a little chat about some really fun spooky films. Now, I've put these into categories. I've got family scaring, I've got spooky and kooky, and then we have full scaredy cat. So you've got your kind of mild, your medium, and then your kind of whoa. Now, the first film that I've put on the list is Ray Bradbury's Halloween Tree. Has anyone ever seen this? Oh, it's so good. It's actually based on Ray Bradbury's book from 1972, The Halloween Tree. We read this with Jackson every single year. It's such a good book. But in 1993, they made an animated version of the book, and it's so good. And we watched it for the first time last year with Jackson. I'd never seen it. Red was one of Red's like favorite like films from when he was a child, and him sharing that with both of us, it was just so special and so lovely. So it follows a group of kids on Halloween, and they're going out and they're wanting to go trick-or-treating, and they're waiting for their friend Pipkin. They go to Pipkin's house and they see that he's actually become really, really sick, and he's being taken away in an ambulance. The boys, they chase after him, and they end up at this like mysterious house with this man called Mantround, who, by the way, is voiced by Leonard Nimoy. Mantround then takes them on a journey, teaching the children all about the history of Halloween and what different cultures celebrate in Halloween. And it is so, so fab. Each child is dressed up as a different character, and they tell the story of Halloween through the kids' costumes. It's so creative. So that was number 1. Number 2, which I've discussed before, Hocus Pocus. Also, which came out in 1993. 1993 was a good year for kids' horror. So the film starts in Salem, Massachusetts in 1693. The Sanderson sisters, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah, and they have been executed for basically stealing a child and taking this child's soul. But the sisters, they decide that they're going to perform a curse, and they say that one day on Halloween's Eve, a virgin is going to come and light this black flame candle, and it's going to bring them back from the dead. So fast forward to 1993, a teenager called Max has arrived in Salem from California. He's not settling in. His sister Danny is having a great time. She's around 8 and she's fully like, you know, settled in. But he's like feeling really, really like sort of upset about leaving his home. He's getting bullied by these like horrible guys. And the girl that he fancies, Allison, has basically just given him this little piece of paper where he writes his number on, just gives it back to him. So he's not having a great time. He's not having a great Halloween. Now he takes his sister trick-or-treating, and he ends up going to Allison's house. And Allison starts talking about the Sanderson sisters and how her mum used to run the museum of where their house was. And he convinces her to go with him and his sister to have a look at this old house. Now, unfortunately, he ends up lighting the black flame candle and brings the Sanderson sisters back to life. And the whole film is all about trying to get them back into the graves where they belong. Winifred is played by Bette Midler. I, honest to God, think that this is probably one of the most iconic things she has ever done. If they ever remade this, they could never replace her. There is only one Winifred Sanderson, and that is Bette Midler. Although what I will say is in the second Hocus Pocus that came out 2 years ago, they had a child Winifred. This little girl played Winifred as a kid. And oh my gosh, it was like seeing like what she would have looked like. It was absolutely amazing. This child's performance was absolutely amazing. Like, I wanted to see a whole film as this little child playing Winifred. It was just absolutely amazing. Sarah Sanderson is played by Sarah Jessica Parker. She has this amazing kind of like whimsical performance. Oh, it's just absolutely wonderful. And then Mary is played by Kathy Najimy, and she is kind of like this goofball kind of like sister who keeps like barking. It's so funny. It's kooky, it's camp, it's just everything that you want in kind of like a 90s kids like TV program. It's just absolutely wonderful. Real kind of like nostalgic vibes. So the third film on the list is The Addams Family. This came out in 1991. It's absolutely iconic. It's based on the 1960s TV show, which was actually based on the Addams Family from the cartoons in The New Yorker. It blends this gothic atmosphere with a macabre sense of humour and has this very quirky family values. Like, they're very much like a very tight-knit group. The film centres around the dynamic between the two brothers, Gomez and Fester. Fester has gone missing and they are trying to bring Fester back. The family want nothing more than Fester home, and a con artist decides to come to the home and pretend and pose as Fester. And it's basically all in a bid to steal the Addams family treasure. So lots and lots of fun things happen within this film. Gomez Addams is played by the late Raul Julia. He is Gomez. He is Gomez Addams. Like, there's no one else in my head when I think about Gomez Addams. It's Raul Julia that is in my head. Morticia Addams is played by Angelica Houston. She has got this ethereal quality, this statuesque kind of way of moving. Like, what a perfect Morticia. Wednesday Addams is played by the iconic Christina Ricci, who comes back in the new Wednesday series, which I absolutely loved that she was in there, and it kind of links that iconic role that she played, where she like basically immortalized Wednesday Addams to what we have in our heads, and it's almost like she's passing the torch over to Jenna Ortega. Pugsley was played by Jimmy Wickerman. Uncle Fester is played by the great Christopher Lloyd, and he's actually also in Wednesday as well. The second series of Wednesday, Christopher Lloyd makes a cameo, which again, I just think is absolutely amazing. Number 4 is Casper. Casper came out in 1995. It is the 30th anniversary this year, which is absolutely crazy. And it's about a little ghost boy who lives in a house with his 3 uncles. I didn't know this, but it was actually the first film to actually have a fully CGI character as the main character. Isn't that wild? This film stars Christina Ricci as well. So again, there's a little tie-in. She kind of became like the preteen scream queen, didn't she? Oh, Christina Ricci, absolutely amazing. So the premise is there's a lady called Carrigan who has inherited this large manor. Her father's died, left her this, and she thought she was going to be getting left like a lot more, but instead she's been left this haunted house on a cliff top. She's trying to sell it, but the ghosts that inhabit it are basically scaring everybody away. And she needs to hire somebody to get rid of the ghosts. And who does she hire but Dr. James Harvey, who claims to be a therapist to the undead. And he claims that he's going to be able to rid these ghosts. His daughter is Kat, who is played by Christina Ricci, and her and Casper become really, really close friends. And it's basically about their friendship. Does a really great job of like combining comedy and light horror. So it is a bit spooky, and there is a very big conversation around mortality. So again, if you are trying to introduce those concepts to a young person, it could be a good way of kind of introducing it. So now we're moving in to the kooky and the spooky. So not full horror, but more than families. Like you wouldn't want to watch these with your kids. The first one that I'm going to recommend is A Haunting in Venice. Who loves Agatha Christie? Oh, I love a bit of Agatha Christie. I love a bit of Poirot. Do we like the new Poirot films? Because I absolutely love them. I think Kenneth Branagh has done an amazing job at creating these works. So this is actually loosely based on the Agatha Christie story, The Halloween Party, though a lot of it has actually changed. It's set in Venice in 1947, so just after World War II. Poirot is living in his retirement. He's very, very happy, and he's kind of in this self-imposed exile. He doesn't want to get involved in any cases. He's just doing his thing. So Poirot has been tempted out of retirement by his friend Ariadne, and she is a mystery novelist, and she is invited in to the home of the opera singer Rowena Drake. Now, Rowena Drake tragically lost her daughter in a terrible, terrible way, but she said her daughter was being haunted, and she's bringing Poirot in to try to solve this death of Rowena Drake's daughter. It's so spooky. There's all sorts of stuff in this. It's gothic. There's a seance. There's children who are these orphan children who come for a Halloween party, and all this spooky stuff happens. You've got a nanny who is freaked out by the house, who doesn't want to stay. There's a storm which traps them all, and there's a murder. There's lots and lots that goes on within this story. This is on Disney Plus as well, so this is easy enough to find. And it's a lot more dark and gothic than some of the other kind of Poirot programs, which I just absolutely love. Give me a moody, dark, is it ghost, is it not kind of setting. It's absolutely fab, and you feel like you kind of don't know until the very end what is actually happening, which I really, really love with a murder mystery. I mean, we all know on this channel we love a murder mystery, but yeah, can't recommend that enough. Number 6 is from 1942, and it is Cat People. This, last time I checked, was on the BBC, and this is so spooky. I love this film so much. This was a landmark horror film for RKO in 1942, and it's often cited as this turning point for psychological horrors. It's a relatively short film as well. It's only 73 minutes. So if you're just looking for a quick film to watch one night, this is perfect. Irina Dubrovna is a Serbian immigrant living in New York. She meets and falls in love with Oliver Reed, played by Kent Smith. So it's not Oliver Reed, the actor, Oliver Reed. That's his name. He's a naval architect, and they marry quickly. But basically, Irina has this secret where she can't sleep with somebody, because if she sleeps with them, she will turn into this beast. And this comes from this old belief from her village, that women from her village are descended from cat people. The marriage becomes strained because of this avoidance of intimacy, and then eventually Oliver ends up seeking intimacy elsewhere. Irina's fears end up manifesting into these very haunting scenes, and I don't really want to go into too much, but you really, really need to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. Number 7, The Wickerman. I love The Wickerman. We watch this every single year. That is our way of celebrating Beltane, our little May Day festival. This is such a good film, and I would say this is a horror musical because there's so much singing and it's just, oh, it's so good. And I feel like we all love it because obviously the pagan kind of vibes behind it. And you also have Christopher Lee, who's in one of the title roles, which is just so amazing. I love Christopher Lee. So basically what happens is this very devout Christian police officer gets lured to a tiny remote island in Scotland. On the island, he's faced with all of these like pagan rituals and he's trying to solve the murder of this young girl called Rowan. When he's searching for Rowan, the villagers, they're not being helpful. They see him as an outsider and he sees them as kind of barbaric with these old pagan rituals. Every time he comes a little bit closer, something gets blocked in his way. But the end scene, I'm not going to say what happens, but there's one big giant Wickerman and there's a big giant bear bonfire and you just need to watch it. It's so good. This film is definitely in the folk horror category. I love folk horror. I love these films that have, you know, they were kind of based in like ritual and like the old world, things that can't be explained, these things that have been passed down from generation to generation. And I just think folk horror as a category is just, oh, I love it so much. I can't explain how much I love folk horror. Now, number 8 is What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, this film, it's directed by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clements, and they both star in it as well. It's about a group of vampires in New Zealand that are basically living in a house together and they're being filmed by a documentary crew, which is absolutely hilarious. And it's just about their daily lives and what happens. It got developed into a TV show and it's one of my favourite TV shows of all time. I'm currently rewatching it now. So it's kind of like, you know, mundane life, but if you were a vampire. It's absolutely hilarious and I can't recommend it enough. It's on the BBC, so if the TV show, and I think the film is as well. Watch the film first, that's my recommendation, then go into the TV series. Number 9 on the list is Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. I have memories of being about 13 and sitting in the living room with my mum on a Friday night and the two of us sitting and watching it. I love this film so much. Like, if you want spooky, if you want gothic, if you want like a period piece, this horror film is for you. This came out in 1999 and it stars Johnny Depp and our queen, Christina Ricci. I think if you were going to class this film, you could class it as a gothic horror, but also very much a supernatural horror as well, because the town of Sleepy Hollow is tormented by a headless horseman. The film follows Ichabod Crane. Now, in the original story, Ichabod Crane is a teacher, but in this version, Ichabod Crane is a constable from New York, and he has been called to Sleepy Hollow to investigate these supernatural goings-on of the Headless Horseman. The film is just so visually stunning with like misty woods, crooked trees, all these kind of things that you really think about Tim Burton. It's probably one of the most Tim Burton-iest films that you could probably get. It creates this amazing atmosphere when you really just want those dark, spooky, gothic vibes, and obviously supernatural. Again, probably not a film that you'd want to watch with the kids, but it's not like so scary that you're going to wet yourself. I don't want to go too much into the plot because I feel like it's going to give a lot away. So all I would say is you've got to watch it. So let's get into our last 3 films. And these last 3 films are the kind of films that would scare the pants off you. The first one on my list, number 10 in our horror movie recommendations, is Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby. Now listen, Roman Polanski, we're not even going to get into Roman Polanski as a person, but Rosemary's Baby is probably one of the scariest films that you could probably watch as a woman. It stars Mia Farrow, who has moved into this very, very old New York building. She has the Castavets as her neighbours who are like constantly like knocking on her door. These 2 like old people, they don't have any like, children, and they're constantly bothering her. And her husband is a sort of out of work actor who's like always kind of looking to kind of, further along his career. Rosemary ends up pregnant and suddenly kind of finds herself being controlled not only by her husband but by these intrusive neighbours. Every time she tries to confide into a doctor or into somebody, she's kind of sort of dismissed as a hysterical pregnant woman, which is absolutely terrifying. Imagine being pregnant, feeling like you're really scared and everybody's telling you that it's like all in your head. It's very, very, very psychological. There is a supernatural element to it as well. This was actually a novel, and I really recommend the novel as well. The novel is just as frightening. There is also a sequel to this, but it's actually a sequel, sorry. It's a prequel called Apartment 10A, and it's kind of all of the lead up to Rosemary's Baby. It's absolutely brilliant. Not as good as Rosemary's Baby, but I will say it's fab. There is a witchcraft element to it as well. I feel like it would tick a lot of the musts for our little group. So yeah, Rosemary's Baby is a big, big one to watch. I remember I watched it while I was pregnant. I watched it years and years and years prior, but I was like, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna watch Rosemary's Baby. The next on our list, number 11, is Guillermo del Toro's Crimson Peak. I love a gothic period drama. This is a gothic period drama. The supernatural elements to it as well. You have this young girl that has married this kind of very kind of rich lord, has to leave her home, is moving to this big old manor house. Everyone's trying to like warn her not to go. It kind of has a feeling almost of like Rebecca, but imagine if Rebecca actually had like a supernatural element to it as well. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so stunningly beautiful. The colour palette, everything, the way it's set, the cinematography, it's absolutely gorgeous. There's also a novelisation which I've been listening to on Audible. If you want to if you've seen this already and you want to experience it in a new way, get this novelisation. It's absolutely brilliant. Number 12 on the list is 1998's Urban Legend. I love a slasher film. I absolutely love a slasher film. And this film does not disappoint. I am actually new to discovering Urban Legend. I never ever watched it back in the day. But it definitely fits into those kind of like those like 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s sort of slasher kind of genre. You have a group of college kids and there's a lot of murders that are happening, but they're all in the style of an urban legend. So, you know, like the girl driving down the road and the gas station clerk is shouting because there's somebody sitting in the back seat, like all those kind of things. It's a very creative horror film. I absolutely loved it, and having that kind of collegiate setting as well kind of brings home those kind of autumnal vibes. I just love this kind of like combination of kind of like folklore, campfires, and then putting it in this like collegiate setting and then making it into like a 90s slasher. I just think that's just so fun. Absolutely love it. And it's on Netflix. Now, number 13, one of my most favourite horror films of all time. I watch this every Halloween, every single Halloween without fail, and have done for the best part of 20 years. And that is John Carpenter's 1978 masterpiece, Halloween. Starring the Scream Queen legend Jamie Lee herself. I can't recommend Halloween. If you haven't seen Halloween, I don't know what you've been doing with your life. This film opens up in the town of Haddonfield in 1963. A 6-year-old boy, Michael, is being babysat by his sister and he brutally murders her. Michael is then locked up in, obviously, a mental hospital, but then escapes 15 years later. He returns to the town of Haddonfield and starts to stalk the teenagers that are living in that town. So the main characters that you have are Laurie, who is played by Jamie Lee, who's like this virginal babysitter. And I feel like this film, you kind of start getting this framework of the slasher film. I think a lot of other films take a lot of inspiration from this, and this formula of the slasher film and the heroine kind of starts to develop, and a lot of the base is kind of from this. It kind of really hangs on atmosphere over gore, and it builds this suspense, and I think it's so clever that they were able to do that. Michael is portrayed as this soulless being, this being that is just terrifying and pure evil. There is no reason, no rhyme or reason to the people that he is killing. It's solely random. You are there, you're going to get killed. And I think that is absolutely terrifying as a premise. This film really defines this final girl trope as well, which goes through so many horror films today. And I think, like, if you're a horror film fan, you haven't seen Halloween, you need to sit down this year and watch it. It's actually on the BBC if you've got BBC iPlayer. So those are my Halloween films that I'm going to recommend to you all. Have you seen them? What ones have you seen? Which ones haven't you seen? Is there any particular ones that you're going to watch? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know your feedback. And what recommendations do you have for me? What would you recommend that I watch this Halloween season? I also have some TV shows to recommend as well, because what me and Red love to do is we love to fill our whole Halloween with the whole of October with episodes from different TV shows that we love. Now, the first TV show that I am going to recommend is The Office. I think The Office do Halloween so well. Now, I was late to discovering The Office. I watched the UK Office and I really didn't like it. I don't really like Ricky Gervais's style of comedy. It's a bit too cringe for me, and it just seems a little bit in mean spirit, where the American Office is not really mean spirited. Michael, who's the main character, like the David Brent kind of character, he is not likable. Like, you don't like him, but because he's such a sad kind of figure, you kind of find yourself kind of rooting for him, and there is like a way you kind of know that his heart is always in the right place, so it's a lot more palatable. But it's the Halloween episodes that really solidified this show within my heart. It's so fun. They really go there. The first time they attempt Halloween is in the second series, and it's episode 6. And the title of the episode is just called Halloween. Michael is given the task that he has to let somebody go, and he leaves it until Halloween to do that. So everybody's dressed up in costumes, and now he has to fire someone. Can you imagine being sat there being fired wearing a stupid costume? Oh my days, I can't even imagine. So that is The Office. That's one TV show that I'm going to recommend. Another TV show that I'm going to recommend that has every single series, does a Halloween episode, is Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which started in 1996. Starring Melissa Joan Hart. It's such a fabulous TV show. I used to watch this with my mum and my sister. This was our TV show. This was our TV program. We would get together, the three of us, every single night, and we would just, because it was on Nickelodeon, it was just pure reruns, and we would sit and we'd have our tea and we'd watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and my mum would watch it with us. The cameos in that show are wild. Like, I discovered who RuPaul was because of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They have Debbie Harry in the first episode, along with Penn and Teller. So it's about a teenager that finds out she's a witch, and she turns a witch on her 16th birthday. She's got to go and live with her aunts because her father is a warlock but her mother is a human. So she can't see either of them for 1 year. So she has to live with her aunts while she discovers and gets taught her witch powers. Now, every single season they have a Halloween episode because Halloween is kind of seen as like their Christmas. The first season it's episode 5 and it's called A Halloween Story. Sabrina wants to skip her family's traditional Halloween party and she wants to go to Harvey, who's the boy that she fancies. He's having a Halloween party. She wants to go there. She ends up creating a body double. She goes to the Halloween festival with her family and she sends this body double to the party and loads of hijinks happens. It's so much fun. The next TV show that we're going to recommend is Bob's Burgers, because Bob's Burgers does Halloween really, really well. What is your favourite Bob's Burgers Halloween episode?
The one where there's a mysterious gorilla guy on a skateboard and he stole everyone's candy.
So that one is called Nightmare on Ocean Avenue Street, and it's season 9, episode 4. So all the kids are going around trick or treating, but there's a guy going around stealing all their sweets, isn't there? Since season 3, Bob's Burgers have done a Halloween episode every single year. I love the show so much because it's got so much heart. And it's like our show that we watch together as a family, isn't it, Jackson? We love Bob's Burgers, don't we?
We do.
We do. So I hope that you enjoy our Halloween recommendations. I'm not going to go into every single episode of Bob's Burgers because there are so many of them and we would be here all day and all night. I hope that you give me some Halloween recommendations as well. I hope that you enjoy our recommendations. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. And remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
And bye.
Bye.